What's up, hush puppies? So today we're talking about how to find your ideal body fat percentage. Now, there's a Japanese word called ikigai. I think that's how it's pronounced. I actually don't speak Japanese. I might be wrong on that one. But basically, it's a combination of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. If you're missing any one of those four factors, you will feel unfulfilled in some way. So with body fat percentage, there are four factors as well. How you look, how you feel, how you perform, and how you health. And if you're missing any one of those four factors, I think you will feel unfulfilled in your body fat percentage. So the first factor is how you look. Now, obviously, this is quite subjective, and it's going to be different if you are in clothes or if you spend a lot of time with your shirt off for some reason. And I think this is part of the reason why a lot of people, tend to cut down in the summer because they are incentivized to do so because there is going to be more time spent naked. So keep in mind your ideal body fat range could change with the seasons just due to the temperature and the weather and what people tend to do. And make sure that this is the look that you actually want, that it hasn't just been incepted into your brain because some fitness influencer influenced you and now you suddenly want to get shredded. It has to be something that you genuinely want. And of course, there will always be external influences. But I think sometimes it's worth sitting down and asking yourself, what do you actually want to look like? Also, keep in mind that if you don't like the way you look, getting leaner is not always the right answer. Putting on muscle can actually have you looking much, much better at a given body fat percentage. If you're very under-muscled and you're 20% body fat, you might look like shit. But if you put on a good amount of size, suddenly you will look vastly different and you might actually like how you look at the same body fat percentage. Also keep in mind, the face is quite important here. No one is going to maximize their facial aesthetics at 25 or 30% body fat because you just get a fat fucking face, basically. But also similarly, you can be too lean. You know, if you're 6-7% body fat, a lot of guys will get this sort of hollow, gaunt look. It's not attractive, right? People think, oh, you're like, oh, I'm mysterious. I'm the lone wolf. I'm the guy who's dedicated. You look hungry, dude. You look hungry and kind of sick too. And not sick in a good way, like cancerous. Next, how you feel. This is also super important. I think often people don't put as much of a priority on this as how they look, which is kind of a travesty in a lot of ways. First, how is your sleep? Are you sleeping through the entire night, unbroken? For some people, regardless of their body fat percentage, they're always going to have sleep issues. But if you are cutting down and you're getting quite lean and you're noticing your sleep is getting more and more disrupted, you're waking up early in the morning, maybe that's not worth it, right? Unless it's a once in a lifetime thing, or maybe you're a competitive bodybuilder, it's probably not worth getting super lean if it's messing up your sleep. It's just not worth it. Also, how is your hunger or your appetite? If you're hungry all the time, maybe that's a sign that your body fat percentage is too low and you would be better off gaining body fat. I know, gaining body fat, it sounds like a negative thing, but it might actually be a positive thing if you're on the leaner side. Also, just how are your energy levels throughout the day? You'll find that if you get too lean or if you get too fat, both of those will impact your energy levels. If I'm super bulked up, my feet will hurt when walking around. When I'm super shredded, my feet will hurt when walking around. And so there's a happy medium in the middle where I have constant energy throughout the day. I'm not food focused. My endurance is really good. And you want to find that mid-range that is going to be best for you. Not too high, but also not too low. And we tend to think that getting leaner will get you in better shape. You'll just be, oh, you're the fit guy, you're the shredded guy. Well, a lot of shredded guys are not actually in great shape. They're too lean, they're depleted, they don't have as good of work capacity, they don't have as good of recovery capacity, they can't handle as much training because they are in this precarious state that they induced because they're trying to get too lean. So again, find that middle ground that works for you. Also, mental energy is a big thing here. A lot of people find that if they go up too high in body fat percentage, they'll get like an afternoon crash after lunch. But if they go too low, then they'll kind of just be crashing all the time. And so I think there's a sweet spot, again, in the middle where you will feel best throughout the day. By the way, thank you to Boostcamp for sponsoring this video. I have 2 programs up on the Boostcamp app, Rampage and Ravage, with a third in the works. It's going to be a program that might ruffle some feathers, might get some people talking. It's a little bit out there, but I think it's going to be an excellent addition to the Boostcamp app. You can also use the app to log and check your progress, which I think is absolutely essential. I actually lost my training logs. It was a pen and paper notebook, old school, from my first 3 years of training. And so I wish I had access to that information. If I had an app back then, I think that would have been a good thing to use. But it's not too late for you. You can check out Boostcamp. I will leave a link in the description. And thank you to Boostcamp for sponsoring this video. Next, number 3, how you perform. Now, there's kind of a difference between how you perform and how you progress. Those are 2 slightly different things, and those roads can diverge at least a bit at some times. For example, a top natural bodybuilder, they need to be about 5 to 6% body fat in order to perform at the highest level. However, in order to make progress and improve year to year, they can't be 5 or 6% body fat. Most top natural bodybuilders, they're not that lean the vast majority of the time, and most of them don't even compete every single year because it's that tough to get that far down in body fat percentage. So often their best progress in terms of gaining muscle will be 12%, 15%, even close to 20% in some cases. If you look at a lot of distance runners, they will not be in their leanest state year round. They might compete at a certain weight, but in the off season, they will allow their body weight to go up just a little bit, 5 pounds, maybe 7 or 8 pounds, because they are in less fragile of a state. They can't perform quite as well, but they can train better because they have a little bit more fat on their frame. And your chosen sport is going to determine a lot of what is ideal about your body fat percentage.
What the hell was that?
Volcanic eruption!
Sure.
And the more that matters to you, the more it's going to influence your overall body fat percentage decisions. So let's say you are a competitive sprinter. Well, you might need to be leaner than you might want because you can't be hauling around a lot of fat and expect to perform at the highest level. Same thing for calisthenics. Anything where you're moving your body, having to move more body weight is going to be a detriment. If you look at the best ring athletes, the best gymnasts, the best street workout guys, they're all lean. They're all very, very lean. And part of this is because they are naturally lean, but in a lot of cases, it's because they are restricting their diet because they know that's what they have to do to get to their goal. On the other hand, let's say you want the biggest bench press possible, just in an absolute sense, not a body weight multiplier, just how much do you bench? Well, you're probably going to want to go pretty high in body fat percentage. You might go 25, 30, maybe even higher in body fat, just because the extra body fat, it's not that it moves the weight, it's just that it improves your leverages to the point where it's actually useful. And so, yeah, you might need to balance this out with health or with how you look and how you feel, but if performance is super, super important to you, that needs to take priority. And a lot of these are going to be why many athletes use a cyclical approach to training, but also to dieting and modifying their body fat percentage over time. It's not just bodybuilders getting ready for a bodybuilding show. Powerlifters often do this as well. MMA athletes, pretty much anything with a weight class.
I'm bigger than you. I'm higher in the food chain. Get in my belly.
They might manipulate their body weight and their body fat percentage over time in order to fix that progress versus performance differential. Next up, number 4, how you health. Now, this is going to be something where it is going to be a little bit individual. I'm not a doctor. Talk to your doctor, get blood work if you need to, and also demand the results. If you get blood work and your doctor's like, yeah, you're looking good, you should be able to see those results and you should demand access to them. I'm always surprised by how so many people are like, yeah, I got blood work, but I don't know. Yeah, my doctor said it was you. Good job. A+. So metabolic health is usually going to be better when leaner for most people, for most diagnostics. But keep in mind, there are probably diminishing returns here, and being too lean is certainly a thing as well. So usually LDL, resting heart rate, measures of inflammation, etc., blood pressure are going to be better when leaner. But again, there's going to be a range, and you probably don't want to get too lean because you might even get low blood pressure in some cases. Now, I think for most natural lifters, there's not going to be really much of a trade-off between building muscle and your overall health. But perhaps if you get quite developed, like near 25, 26 FMI, like very, very big, for reference, I'm around 24, sure, there might be some small trade-off between longevity and building muscle. You know, you don't see a lot of 220-pound centenarians, sentinels, so 100-year-old plus motherfucker. But if longevity is like the thing that you want to focus on to the detriment of everything else, like that is your thing, sure, you might want to maintain a leaner physique and you might not even want to put on as much muscle as you could. But I would say for most people, that's not really a cause for concern. And most people that I see, putting on muscle is not going to impact their health, and it would actually benefit it. And just speaking personally, anecdotally, I feel and look and perform, etc., pretty good from like 12% up to 20%. If I go above 20%, then I start to get, chubby looking. The face gets puffy, gets bloated. I get out of breath slightly more easily. I still have pretty good work capacity and good recovery capacity. Maybe blood pressure might creep up slightly, etc. And then if I go below 12%, I will get hungry much more easily. Appetite will increase. And then when I go below about 10% body fat, that's when I get a lot of negative effects in terms of disrupted sleep, not being able to sit down because my ass is too lean, all that good stuff. And if you are naturally on the leaner side of things, your range might be a little bit lower. Perhaps it is 10 to 15%. But if you're on the higher side, if you are you naturally carry more body weight, more body fat, perhaps your range might be 15 to 23% or so. But it seems like there's always an upper and lower threshold above which or below which you probably don't want to go. And if you're the kind of person who really gets a lot of pleasure from sweeter foods, you get a lot of gratification from eating, you're a foodie, etc., I think you just have to balance that with how you look, how you feel, how you perform, your health, etc. It's okay to be on the higher end of your body fat set range. It'll allow you to eat a little bit more food as long as you don't let things get out of control. Again, you have to balance this with everything else. Alright, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, you can check out my books. I will link them in a pinned comment. They will help a lot on your fitness journey. And I will see you in the next video. Peace. Are you ready for the latest Boostcamp program drop? Like how when you say the word drop, gets people excited, gets the youngins going, gets them fired up to spend their money. It's free though, actually. So you don't actually have to spend any money on the drop.